Now, did you know that without the humble bee, we wouldn't have coffee, chocolate, or even wine?
I'm now interested.
Life would not be worth living. It would be the end of life as we know it.
As we know it.
To quote you, Kerry Ann. But tragically, global bee populations are actually in serious decline. So we've sent Scott Tweedy to find out what's the buzz. Hey, Scotty, what's happening?
Hello. Good morning, Studio 10. Good morning, Sarah Harris. Well, when it comes to being a bee expert, I know next to nothing. But I have found a man who is the bee guru. They actually call him the bee whisperer. And I've been lucky enough to be invited to his house this morning. It is Bruce White. Good morning, Bruce. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Scott.
Good to see you. Now, we've come straight to the pool room here, everybody. Have a look at all this bee paraphernalia behind us. There's so many things behind us here. But is it true, Bruce, you have had beehives for the last 65 years?
Yes, I certainly have, Scott. I became interested when I was at school, primary school. One of my classmates had a hive. I used to go around after school and sit and watch the bees. They intrigued me, and that's how my interest started in beekeeping.
So today is actually World Bee Day, if everyone didn't know that. And a lot of our bees around the world are becoming, more endangered, more extinct as well, and we're losing a lot of bees. How big is this problem?
It's a significant problem to mankind, really, and the main reason, I think, is, overstocking of country, less flora available, and, of course, like other insects, they get disease, so there's a biosecurity, risk as well. But we're fortunate that we don't have some of the major pests and diseases of honeybees in the world.
Is it true, Bruce, if the bees were to go, a few years later, us humans, we could go as well?
We'd certainly suffer a lot, Scott, because, at least a third of all the food we eat is totally dependent on honeybee pollination, and maybe up to 65%. And also you've got to think of livestock, because livestock need clover and leguminous plants that require pollination. So it's not only affect mankind, it'll also affect the livestock industries, which will, of course, impact on mankind as well. So, honeybees throughout the world are certainly essential for our survival. Okay,
so overseas and around the world, they're saying that numbers of bees are dropping by like 30%. Is that the same number here in Australia?
No, fortunately, we're not losing 30% here, because I think our beekeepers are fairly skilled. We're fortunate to have really good flora, and of course honeybees were brought here in 1822 to pollinate the crops, because the European people come with European crops, the early settlers, and they weren't getting seed set. So the skill of our beekeepers, not overstocking country, is not seeing the decline that we're seeing in Europe. The flora certainly helped, and the fact that bees can forage 12 months of the year here by beekeepers migrating hives, whereas in Europe the season's short and they can't always forage for 12 months of the year. They might hibernate for 4 or 5 months of the year.
Well, Bruce has got a lot of bees here in his backyard. So when we come up a little bit later on, we're going to check out your hives, Bruce. We're going to put on some bee suits as well. And he's also going to teach us what we can do, everybody at home, to help with this bee crisis. But for the time being, we're going to get some of your honey, Bruce, put the toast on and relax, and we'll see you guys shortly.
Scott Tweedy, are you into the honey there yet, mate?
Oh, we're getting close, Sarah. All right, guys, as you can see, I'm taking no risks here at all today. There's been a lot of bees around here. I'm once again back in Bruce White's backyard. He knows everything when it comes to bees. He's an absolute guru. He's been a beekeeper for 65 years. Bruce, today is World Bee Day. We want to do all that we can to increase bee numbers around the world. So first and foremost, what have we got here and how can we help with the bees?
So we've got a beehive here, Scott. That's got a queen bee in it, probably 50,000 worker bees, and it's a productive hive. The workers are flying 5 kilometres if they have to pollinate crops and collect food for their own use that we can harvest when there's a surplus.
Now, without stinging me, can we crack it open now, Bruce?
Sure can.
Let's have a look at these bees, everybody. So we're here, you can see, there's all our worker bees here. Now, what's that smoke doing?
The smoke confuses the bees, so they're not organised, masks their pheromones, and causes them to gorge themselves on honey and nectar, and they're happy. But bees, are often happy anyway. They don't normally attack people unless you disturb them. Here we have a super that's full of honey. I'll pull a frame of honey out just to show you. So bees collect this for their own use, and that's the energy supply. So that's a full frame of capped honey. To remove that, I need to cut the caps off, put it in a machine called a honey extractor that spins that out, and then I put it back in and the bees will fill it again. Had bees in your backyard, Scott, you can get up to 30 kilos a year in your backyard in Sydney of what I call mixed grill honey, because the bees are going to different plants that are flowering throughout the year. The flavour is going to be different depending on when you extract the honey.
That's incredible, 30 kilos of honey. Is it simple as just having one of these hives in your backyard and you're good to go?
No, it's not. You need knowledge, and I encourage every beekeeper to join the New South Wales Amateur Beekeepers Association. They've got a conference the 7th to the 9th of June at the University of Western Sydney. You can Google Amateur Beekeepers. That's how they can learn. There's 24 branches of the Amateur Beekeepers Association, 2,200 members. So if they join that, they can actually learn beekeeping and learn how to do it properly. That is essential. You've also got to register your hive with New South Wales DPI, and the registration's for 2 years, so they know where hives are should there be an exotic disease come into the country.
There was a bee that was just hovering around my hand there. I was getting a little bit scared.
Yeah, they like black microphones. They don't like black. That's why we wear white clothes. So, education is really important, and joining an association is essential if you're going to think about getting bees, and the Amateur Beekeepers is by far the main organisation that provides education, practical field days, and they've got their own apiaries, most branches.
I love it over here as well. You can actually post queen bees. Have a look at this package over here. They're one of the only animals you can send in the post to get people and get their hives up and running. Is that correct?
Yes, so that's a envelope that posts bees. You can post them all through the world. That's a queen cage. You put the queen bee in there with some escorts, and away they go. Domestically, you can't bring them into Australia unless they come through quarantine, and some do, so we can genetically improve our bees. You can artificially inseminate queen bees. The queen bee is the mother of the hive, and so essential. So good stock, docile stock like this hive here, is the result of good queen breeding and good queen bees.
And Bruce, just before we have to go, what's this hive over here, this one? Because these are becoming quite popular in Australia and a lot of people are using these.
This is a flow hive. So a flow hive is a wonderful Australian invention. It's got plastic frames in it, and the plastic frames, you can use a tool to crack the cells, and by cracking the cells, the honey can run out of the back of the colony, so you don't need a honey extractor to remove the honey from the frames.
There you go. Well, as Bruce pulls this out, everybody, we encourage you to help our bees. We want to increase the numbers and get lots of delicious honey as well from these. Thank you so much, Bruce, for welcoming us into your backyard. And your bees have been very well behaved and haven't been stung as well.
I wonder what queen bee looks like.
Thanks, Scotty.
Yeah, what do you think queen bee looks like? I'm not sure.
It's important also,
dancing
school
like
children
Beyonce.
can now do beekeeping.
I think like Olivia
with
Colman.
their HSC.
That could be her
and
there,
encourage
I
all-
think. With the, you were right, Sarah.
Little crown on the top of her head.